Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Calling All Devs, our weekly Q&A series where I take questions from you, the Star Citizen backer, and pose them directly to our developers, usually over Skype. This week we are starting things off a little differently. We are going to the home of Eddie Hilditch, Global Environment Lead. We'll get his title when I'm there. I can't remember these things. Eddie, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm good, thank you.
What?
Apologize for the voice, first of all, because I have a cold at the moment.
Oh no, it
I'm not
sounds
usually
great.
I'm not usually this sultry, Jared. But there you go.
All right, so you're saying not only did I call you at home, but I called you at home because you're sick.
No, it's all good. I'm working.
I'm an ass. I'm an ass. All right.
Not at all.
Uh,
Not at all.
So, Eddie, we got a question for you here. Kind of an interesting one. Sometimes these questions on Calling All Devs come a little bit out of left field. It's not just that the question was asked, but that it was voted up by the community. So it's actually kind of heartening in a way to see so many people vote a question about one of the lesser known aspects of the Stanton system here. Your question was, when ArcCorp finally gets added to the game, will we also see the addition of the Aaron Halo, which is an asteroid field and its gateways that sits, I believe if we check the star map, it sits between ArcCorp and Crusader?
Sure. Yeah, so obviously we are developing ArcCorp. We're running to a schedule for all our locations. They are being treated as separate locations. We're currently planning to do all the planetary bodies in the system first. So the Aaron Halo does come secondary to that. So I think for the first release of ArcCorp as a planet, you will not be seeing the Aaron Halo in just yet. One of the big things, one of the big challenges, like we have with the asteroids in particular from a visual point of view is making them look good when the sun is directly behind you, because at the moment we don't have any kind of atmospherics inside the asteroid fields, and that's a bit of tech we're waiting on being developed from the graphics side of things. Without that, you kind of get a very flat read when the sun is directly behind you. It's something you can already see around Yellow with its rings. So it's being treated as a separate location. There are these huge, like, cool gateways. I'm sure you've seen the concept art. Something we're very excited to develop. It's just not being developed at the same time as the ArcCorp release due to the schedule that we're running to, basically.
Gotcha. I think that's fair enough. I'm gonna let you go because I didn't realize when I called you that you were sick, man. Thank you so much for taking the call, and
No problem.
I'll see you in the UK in just a couple weeks.
Oh, nice. Have a good one. Look forward to seeing you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Thank you so much, Eddie. Now we're moving to another part of the office and our own vehicle pipeline director, John Crew, who's got two questions for you. A question I've been anticipating for a while. I know the answer to it. John, how you doing, man?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Got two questions for you from the backers, voted on by the backers. Yes, Jared Bott needs new copy. All right. First question. How can ships hover the way that they do in atmosphere? This person says that some ships can hover with their nose facing straight down. I've seen that on a couple of ships. Some ships can hover completely belly up. That's a little tougher in some cases. Basically, he goes, I thought some of these ships are supposed to have VTOL thrusters. Why are maneuvering thrusters this powerful?
Yeah, so we've talked about this quite a few times, but the maneuvering thrusters on ships are more powerful than they want them to be or we want them to be for various reasons. It sort of falls out of the tuning process that we have at the moment, in that when you want a specific performance, it just dictates the maneuvering thruster capability. So they're all too high, so that's partly the reason why they do that, but also the VFX for when you're in atmosphere, they're the same VFX on the thrusters you have in space. So in space, where it's all dark and you've got a black background, you can see these thrusters firing away, keeping you up. Whereas in atmosphere, where you're in bright daylight, you sort of lose them against the ship. So it does seem like they're hovering, when in fact, if you look at them closely, the thrusters are on full tilt, trying to keep you up. So we've got plans to sort the maneuvering thrusters out, which will help that. Some ships do behave, like the Retaliator and Reclaimer, as people found out, especially when the Reclaimer came in, that you had to orientate yourself correctly coming in and out of atmosphere, because you would just plummet down. And that's the sort of thing we're going for with those bigger ships, which if they have VTOL thrusters, you're going to need them in planets or moons with gravity.
Right. And I'm going to recommend that folks check out Reverse the Verse live from, I think it was about 2 weeks ago by the time this airs, maybe 3 weeks ago. The one it had Chris Roberts on it. He talks a lot about, one of the first questions right out the gate is, what is your vision for, combat flight and atmospheric flight and stuff like that? And one of the things he talks about leads directly to this, and wanting to redefine how ships perform, not just in space but in atmosphere, and for ships to have their own character and personality in the way that they handle. So it's not just we have 120 some odd ships currently in the pipeline at various points, and you don't want them all to just be like skin swaps on the same ship.
They're all going to have character.
Yeah. So I highly recommend you check that out if you haven't, because that's going to give you a lot more information than just this, because Chris has a lot more time to talk about it than we do today. All right, moving on to the second question. With planets and bodies of water being added in 3.3, of course they're talking about Hurston, will we see atmospheric planes, aka non-spaceships, and aquatic amphibious vehicle concept sales this year?
It's not something this year, no, for sure. It's nothing we're actively designing or planning for. Doesn't mean we're never going to do them, but it's not something that we're considering at this time.
Yeah. Just to reiterate that, just because you said not this year, right now
doesn't mean next
year. At this moment, we are recording this on August 15th. There are no plans in motion right now for boats, submarines, or airplanes as it is. Doesn't mean plans won't be made in the future. We're not going to say no. Just that we can't say yes right now because there is no yes at the moment.
Yeah, there's lots of cool possibilities that we could do with them. Some are quite exciting, but as you say, there's nothing written for them yet.
Trust me, I've ever since the moment we did the tank, I've been doing over land and sea and air, in my head over and over again. So I'm waiting. I'll be first in line when that meeting comes with it. So, all right, man, that's it.
Cool.
I'll let you get back to work. Thanks so much.
All right, then. No problem.
All right, take
Bye.
care. All right, thank you so much, John Crew. Now going from John Crew to Johnny Jasivius, owner of the coolest name in all of Cloud Imperium games. I'm on the record saying this. Johnny, how you doing, man?
I'm great, Jared. Thank you for the compliment.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I'd be like Jasivius, Johnny Jasivius. It sounds like a 1990s a comic book, extreme comic book character, like Johnny Jasivius.
I'm not featured in one, sadly.
No, all right. Not as cool as NFL Super Pro, but pretty good. All right.
Yeah.
So we got a question for you. There's a deep cut, NFL Super Pro. Got a question for you from the backers. Will there be weapon rest character positions to help prevent provoking attacks when looking at each other? If I may, I think that means when you pull out a rifle, instead of constantly having to hold it like this, trigger discipline.
Yep.
Holding it down in a resting position, but still having it out and brandished.
Yeah. So the actual pointing of your gun and kind of bringing it down slightly, that's something we can definitely do. Though if we're talking about kind of a more neutral position, like if you see armed guards somewhere, like if you go to an airport or something like that,
right.
Especially in the UK, they all have the MP5s just kind of tucked
right.
on the chest here. It's this nice little rest, so it's like I'm armed, but I'm not about to shoot you. Like I'm not threatening you yet. So yeah, that's something we want to put in for players as well. So if you want to kind of walk around a zone with your weapon out, but you don't want to kind of look threatening to anyone, it's kind of a bit of a role play option. So you've kind of just got your new swanky weapon kind of like resting on your chest here. Mm-hmm. That's definitely something we can do. It'll just be like it being holstered, but it's not on your back, it's on your front instead, and you've kind of still got your arms on it. Something that's also quite important is we want to get this in for AI, especially because down the line we want to move away from having straight up green zones where you can't equip any of your weapons or anything at all.
Right.
So you really need to know how the guards in the area are acting around you. Like, are they considering you a threat? Are they relaxed? And this kind of I'm armed but relaxed pose kind of gives you a real good indication of like, okay, these guys are here. They might mess me up if I cause any trouble, but right now I'm not in the bad books.
Cool. All right. Gosh, you knocked that one out. I don't have anything else to add.
I'm sorry.
You gave me nothing to do.
But yeah, if we want to loop back around to the original question again,
sure.
If people are talking about actually aiming at a friendly and dipping the weapon rather than it being dipped down on your front, that's also something we would potentially look at for maybe Squadron, because there will be people in there that will be definitely marked as friendly. You don't want to shoot them, whereas in the PU you can make anyone your enemy, so we probably wouldn't want to enforce it anywhere like that, because if you want to go and make trouble with someone you're considering good or a friend, you can totally turn your back on them at any moment if you want to. We're not going to stop you from doing that.
Gotcha. All right, man. Well, that's it. That's all I got for you.
Cool.
I'll let you go.
Yeah, have a good day, sir.
All right, take care. Well, that about does it for this week's show. A special thanks to John Crew and Eddie Hilditch and Johnny Gisevius for taking the time to be here on the show this week. Remember, you can submit your questions for consideration each and every week up in the thread up on Spectrum, and don't forget to vote. So for Calling All Devs, I'm Content Manager for Global Video Production. I'll be back next week wearing the exact same thing I'm wearing this week because of travel. See you then.
Thanks for watching. For the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42, you can subscribe to our channel, or you can check out some of the other shows, and you can also head to our website at www.robertsspaceindustries.com. Thank you very much for watching.